Good afternoon. My name is Jillian Murphy. I am a junior at Frisco High School, and I am active in my church. I go to Prestonwood Baptist Church, and in the church I am in choir. And through choir we go to many mission trips, and I've gone to every single one since 7th grade. And this past summer we went to Washington, D.C. And in Washington, D.C. we were assigned an assignment for the entire week. And my assignment was Central Union Mission, which was a men's homeless shelter. And I loved working there. We did everything from serving food to cleaning to talking to the men. So it was just very interesting. And every day walking there, we would get on the train station and then we'd walk there from the train station and we try to give away our box lunches. And giving them away, sometimes it's hard because you don't know who's homeless and who just wants to catch their train. So this one lady, she had a suitcase, and I was just like, well, she's probably not homeless, but, you know, I need to get rid of this box lunch before I get to Central Union Mission. So I gave it to her, and her name was Jackie. So I started talking to Jackie, and she told me how she was homeless, and it wasn't from all the things that I heard, like she did drugs, or she was an alcoholic, or she gambled all her money away. Like her dad got into the hospital, and she had to pay off all of his medical bills, and she ended up bankrupt. So just all of that, and she told me how hard it was for a woman on the street, and this really touched my heart, and it really hurt me because I was just like, why should it be so hard for one specific gender? And she said it was very hard for a woman to find a women's homeless shelter, and it's like they get to a point where they feel like they want to sell their bodies to get what they need. So this just really weighed on my heart, and that night I was praying in worship, and I got my call to ministry, and it was to have my own women's homeless shelter. And through this, I'm going to study substance abuse medicine. But the song that was playing when I got my call to ministry was Oceans by Hillsong. So that's what I based my quote off of for this year. It's take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, so that my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. And to me, this means is just go outside of the box. Don't keep yourself from moving forward, and don't put a limit on God, because our God is so huge and he can do so many amazing things. But when we put a limit on him, that's when we're like trying to control him. But that's what I'm trying to get rid of. So my plan for the topic that I'm studying, substance abuse medicine, overall my whole goal is to have a women's homeless shelter. And to do this, I want to double major in pre-med and biblical studies and minor in substance abuse medicine. And my inspiration was the Washington, D.C. mission trip, with talking with Miss Jackie and just learning all about her story and how there's such a lack in women's homeless shelters. For my minor in substance abuse medicine, basically substance abuse medicine is washing out anything harmful in your body before you get over-the-counter regular drugs. And so if someone is taking marijuana or heroin, you have to wash out their system before you can give them like aspirin per se. So I have to learn about that, so when I have the free clinic inside of my homeless shelter, I won't give anyone the wrong dose and everything will be beneficial. Next is my research. So I did a lot of research at first focusing on homelessness, because I always thought, like, if you were homeless, you did something bad, which is horrible to think, but that's what the majority of America thinks. So looking into it, I looked into Central Union Mission, and that was the homeless shelter that I volunteered at, and I found out that it was based off of veterans coming home, that their family was dead or they just moved away. So Central Union Mission was solely a homeless shelter for veterans, and it just fit the need for that time period. And I thought that was really cool, because the need for the times do change, and right now it's like foreclosures, and sadly right now it is also drugs. But then there's Snapshot of Homelessness and Homelessness in the City. Snapshot of Homelessness was just a bunch of statistics of how many women are on the streets, how many men, how like age groups, and it was just very cool to see the amount of women on the streets and the amount of children also on the streets that are born on the streets. And nonprofit organizations led by women was all about how if a woman creates a nonprofit, she wants to work there. And that I found that really cool, because that's what I want to do. I want to start my own women's homeless shelter, and then I want to work in it and just completely flourish with it. Rebecca is a testimony from Restored Hope Ministries. She is a story of that Pastor Sam, she was originally going to something called Celebrate Recovery, and it was just a Bible study Wednesday nights, and she would just go in and learn about Jesus, and then she'd leave. Well, when she'd come back, she'd be like beat up, or she'd have bruises all over her, and they're like, yeah, we're helping her and giving her a meal like right now, but when she leaves, there's nothing we can do. So that was like the foundation and the inspiration for Restored Hope Ministries. So that I found was really cool, that she started an entire program based on wanting to help her and seeing that need. And Coach Goff has showed me many sex trafficking articles, and I never realized how young sex trafficking starts. Like, the ages are now like 9 to 12 when girls are like kidnapped and brought in. And then finding out that this one Frisco couple just moved here, and they're about to have a awareness walk and like have this entire thing in Frisco's Commons Park, and they're going to talk about human and sex trafficking. And what I found interesting about this one, it's not only women. There's also men being pulled into it for human trafficking, and they're being forced to labor. And it was just an entire ordeal that I didn't know much about, but I'm glad I keep learning. Next, my interviews, I interviewed Eddie Osagawu, who was a head of a halfway house, and he told me how people are broken and you need to reach them where they're at. Angela Grover was a counselor, and she just focused more on women of addicts and how the women are impacted in that. Dr. Arnold Meck was more of the medicine side, which was very interesting because he believed in non-general medicine. He was just like, if we all have our own DNA, and if we all have our unique hobbies and like abilities, why is our medicine generalized? So he believes that if someone is addicted to something, there's a specific medicine catered to them to get over it. Lisa Shastine was actually one of my friend's moms, and I talked to her about Restored Hope Ministries, not thinking exactly where she worked, and I completely fell in love with it. And she referred me to Sam Palonzi, and Sam Palonzi is the executive director and pastor of Restored Hope Ministries, and he is just amazing, like completely wonderful. Like, he's exactly what I want to be when I grow up. He's amazing and perfect in every way. He started Restored Hope Ministries. He went through Celebrate Recovery. He has such a unique calling, and it's just amazing, and I'll go into him more later. Joshua Rolfe helped me with my original work. I called him. He is a missions pastor at Prestonwood, and he donated 231 Bibles to me towards my grace packages, which was such an abundant blessing. And I also interviewed him to find out like where I should pass out the packages and what should I do to like further myself in my topic of study. Well, I chose Sam Palonzi to be my mentor. Number one, he's the executive director, so he knows how they started Restored Hope Ministries from the ground up, which I would love to know. He plans every girl's day, and he sees all the fundraising. And right now we're working on a fundraiser for Restored Hope Ministries, and this Friday Miss Kay Robinson from Duck Dynasty, she's coming down, and we're having a luncheon at the Crown Plaza, and she's going to speak and raise money. So different fundraisers that catch people's eyes and wants to help donate. Well, I chose him because he had a unique call from God, and what was crazy was that he found God in prison. And just hearing that, I was just like, wait, you found God in prison? Like, what? But the way God called him to help hurting people, and the way that he doesn't let that stop him, he builds off of it, it was so motivational and so inspirational to know that no matter where you're starting, there's always a better end for you through Jesus. And I just thought that was so cool because the girls can look up to his story. Restored Hope Ministries is such a beautiful, safe house. It's so safe, and all the women there's 6 women there right now, and they range from 20 to 35. and they're all so sweet and so like still going through recovery. One girl is brand new and she just got there 2 weeks ago. One girl is at her 10-month mark and she has 2 more months left to go before we start her graduation. So it's just so amazing to see the balance of everything and how each girl can encourage another. And I just chose him because we have the exact same goals. I want to reach women who are lost, who think that there's no way out, and show them God's light and show them that there is a better path for them to take. Next is my original work, and my original work is Grace Packages, and it's completely based on 2 Corinthians 2:9-10. And my original work was to create packages that have basic necessities and more for the homeless population. And one of the, I don't want to fall off here, one of the Grace Packages I brought here, and you guys can look in it if you want to, but it has like a blanket for them to wrap around themselves and water, and there's like toothbrush, toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, just things like that. And there's socks, and there's a Bible and a highlighter and a pen, and it's just so that we can meet their like physical needs first before we start telling them about Jesus, because I feel that would give us a gateway to talk to people and let them know that someone cares about them. Fund the Nations actually is helping me do some of the fundraising, which I'm going to show you the t-shirts that they designed me. And this original work was based off of the fear of giving. And the fear of giving is when people are like, well, I don't want to give them $5 or like in cash, because they will go straight into the liquor store and go straight to the corner and get them drugs. Well, this eliminates that fear, because you're giving them an entire package of what their basic needs provide and what they actually want or need, and it's just amazing, and it will impact many people. And challenges was probably the communication block of calling so many different organizations and just playing telephone tag of being like, hi, leave a message. And so just some of that was kind of difficult, but once you start talking to people and telling them what's about, most people are very cooperative, which was awesome. A reward for the original work was when I went to Restored Hope Ministries. I stopped by like this guy who was asking for something, and I had toothpaste in my car, and I was like, this isn't gonna help anybody, like it's just toothpaste. But when I gave it to him, he was so overjoyed and he was so thankful for it. So just seeing that one item in like this entire package made him so joyful and so happy. It just like brought like this warmth to my heart. Like I was so glad that just one little item that I get to use every morning would bring him like so much joy. So that was awesome. I learned a lot of patience and endurance, because sometimes when you only have 5 items donated and you need 231 of everything, you're just like, Lord provide. So that was very difficult, and patience in knowing that people are busy and that they will get back with you. So the main element of my original work was fundraising, and Fund the Nations created these shirts for me based on Grace Packages. So they put Grace Changes Everything in the back, and we did a sunset so that it would represent that the sun is always changing, but it's always so beautiful. So like through different trials and changes in your life, there's always something beautiful about it, and lending a hand is just wanting to help the people in need. So this is the money donations, what it would go towards to buying a shirt, and the item donations is like combs and water bottles and everything else that was donated. In conclusion, I want to say that this entire ISM journey was so amazing, and it's been a challenge to communicate to people, because at first I was just like, a cold call is gonna like help me, and I didn't understand, like besides getting interviews, how it would help me. But with fundraising like all the time and talking to people and explaining to them what you're about, it has helped so much. So that is just an amazing part of ISM, and I am excited for ISM to challenge me in different ways in my field. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you for your time.